Hello everyone. This is Irene Kohler with Almost Savvy, and I'm delighted that you've chosen to join me for a little while today to talk about Facebook. Have you seen all of the changes lately? I'm sure if you've logged into your Facebook account, you've seen that the interface has changed. You see updates flying by at an increased speed. You might even be seeing information from people who aren't your Facebook friends and wondering, what is that doing there? And more importantly, if I'm seeing things from people who aren't my Facebook friends, is it possible that other people are seeing what I'm posting? And how do I control all of that? So we're going to talk about this today. My name is Irene Kohler, and what I do with Almost Savvy is work to help people make sense of all of this social media. We spend time on Facebook, maybe you're on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Google Plus, maybe you have a blog or a website, or very likely this is all just new to you and you're trying to stay on top of all of it. Maybe you use it for connecting with friends and family, you use it for professional networking, for keeping track of the news, whatever it is. We're all trying to figure out how can we use it best to make sense for us and in a way that's really comfortable for us. And that's really what I'm here to help you to do. You'll see on the screen where it says @Irene Kohler. That's my Twitter username. So if you're on Twitter, feel free to tweet me there. If not, then don't even worry about it. I've got a page on Facebook called Almost Savvy where you're always welcome to stop by and post questions or tips or information that you think other people might find useful about social media, or visit my website, which is almostsavvy.com. So let's get started. We have a lot to cover. And here we go. This is the agenda, what we're aiming to cover today with some of just the latest changes. We're not going to have time to dig really deeply into everything about Facebook, but I do want to hit on a few key points that are important for you to understand with the changes. First one is the news feed. We're going to talk about that. That's important when you first log into Facebook. You see that right on the front. There's a ticker there. If you're not sure what it is, I'm going to show you, and I will show you why you're seeing the information you do there and whether or not you can change some of that. Privacy is incredibly important for all of us to understand. How can you manage it? There's much you can do, but it's not really at the surface. We need to dig down a little bit into the privacy settings to help you understand how well you can manage it. And in fact, you can manage it very, very specifically about who can see the information that you post, both who can see it and who cannot see it. Important to know. And when you're sharing information, whether it's updates, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, or you're sharing photos, different kind of information, you can be very specific about who you share that with. And lists have been part of Facebook for quite a long time, but have now been brought sort of to the forefront. And I'll explain to you what those lists of friends are useful for and how do you set them up. So with that, let's get started. First stop on our Facebook journey today is your news feed. So here you see the front page of my Facebook account. You see updates going by. This is live right now. And so I'd like to show you a few things. Of course, your feed will look different. You have different friends who are posting different content and posting at a different rate. So right now I'd like to focus on what's in the center here, these stories. These are updates that flow by in the news feed of whatever my friends are posting. You see some of them have images, sometimes they have photos. There's a whole variety of things. And the truth is some of these things interest me more than others. And there are a number of things that can be done to tweak, to customize this feed so Facebook will begin to show me more of what is interesting to me. For example, here's a friend of mine at the top named Tatiana. She's lovely. She's very, very smart. I like her a lot. But if for some reason, hypothetically, if I didn't want to see updates from her in my news feed, what I would do, I would hover my cursor over to the right. And you see, when you move this over to the right, this arrow appears. When I just click on this arrow, I get a number of choices that in this drop-down menu. I can choose to mark this as a top story, meaning that things like this will appear more prominently in my news feed. I can just hide it just to make it go away. I have some choices in terms of subscribing to Tatiana's updates. I can get more, I can get fewer. There's an option to unsubscribe from her, which would mean that while she and I are still Facebook friends, nothing that she posts appear in my news feed. Or I can, if for some reason I don't like this particular post and it was because she posted it using a particular application. In this case, it's called TweetDeck, but in many cases, you'll see if some of your friends are playing Facebook games in particular, if sometimes you're seeing updates from Farmville or other games, if you click on here, I just may want to select that application. I may say hide all updates from this particular game, and then you don't have to do it individually. They all will go away from your newsfeed. So that's a great trick. The only reason you're not seeing in my newsfeed games is because I've blocked all of them. I'm not interested in seeing all those updates, but that's just my own preference. In addition, when I hover over her name, and there she is, so she's just gorgeous, and then I hover over the subscribe button, you'll see I even get more choices to tailor what I want to see from her or any of my Facebook friends in my news feed. If I think, all those status updates that she posts about I'm here and I'm eating a burrito for lunch, or, her status updates maybe aren't all that interesting. If I click on this, I can unsubscribe for those, but I happen to think she posts fantastic photos. I don't want to miss any of those photos. I can maybe just subscribe to her photos. If again, you just have a particular friend who plays a lot of games and you don't want to see them, you can unsubscribe from that. So you see, you have a number of choices that you really can tweak this, either by application or by individual. So it will learn over time what your preferences are, but I just wanted to let you know that in the news feed, give it some time and use these tools and these little tweaks to customize what you're seeing. Next, we're going to talk about the ticker. And there's some confusion and frustration with the ticker. And so let's take a look at it and see what you can and cannot change about it. The ticker is this area over to the right of my news feed, where you'll see not only updates that are posted from my friends that show up in the main area in the center of the news feed, but it shows my friends' activity as well. That activity may include things like notification when somebody adds a new friend, notification when one of my friends likes or comments on someone else's post. And that may or may not be something that I want to see. For example, here is a friend of mine, Dan, smart guy with me in the social media club, he likes, you'll see right here, it says Dan likes Janet's photo. And Janet is also a very smart social media person herself, and I learn a lot from both of them. You'll see when I hover over this activity update, it opens up the photo that he liked. And I see it right here. Janet has posted a photo of some cats, adorable. I certainly have my share of them. And I can take a look at this and see everything that people have commented and really see why Dan liked that. He didn't share the photo, so it didn't show up my news feed. But if for some reason I decided, Dan is just commenting and liking so many things, it really is annoying to me. I see too much of that in my news feed. What I can do is go down and find, where's Dan? Here's Dan's name right here. I can hover over his name. This box then pops up. There's Dan, and you can see we have a lot of mutual friends. And where I'm subscribed to Dan, just as I showed you in the news feed, I may choose to uncheck to get notifications when Dan adds comments or likes. And that way I would not get notifications. See, just like that. I unchecked it. So that's one thing that you can do to adjust this. Another point about the ticker that may interest you, and I get a lot of questions about, is you'll see your ticker may look more like the way it does right now on my screen over to the far right, where the top of the ticker are the updates and the notifications, and the lower part is part of my chat list. It's a list of people that I can chat with on Facebook. This line that's in the middle that separates the two, you actually can click on that and drag if you want to see more updates, less chat, or if you don't want to see the notification updates in your ticker and you just want to see everybody listed in chat. So you can drag that up and down as seems to work for you. Additionally, in the lowest right hand corner, very, very at the bottom, where there is an arrow and a bracket. Right here, I've got my cursor over it. It says hide sidebar. If I click on that, that goes away completely and just shows up just that piece of the ticker on my homepage right alongside the news feed. And on Facebook, while you cannot make, as people have asked, you cannot make the ticker go away completely, there are extensions. If you are into using browser extensions with Firefox or Chrome, you can add those to your browser that will hide these. But if you're not comfortable with that level of tech sort of shortcut and workaround, then this will work for you. Next up is privacy. Privacy settings, very, very important. Not only for protecting your information that you share and you're posting, but also your personal information in your account. So let's take a look at where in your Facebook account you manage your privacy and some things to keep in mind. So up here in the top right hand corner of every page when you're navigating on Facebook, here you'll see my name, you'll see home right next to it, and there is an arrow at the top. So go ahead and you click on that arrow, and that will give me some choices of where I want to go. So I'm going to go to my privacy settings. Now this is an area that not too many people delve into, but so important that you understand what is working behind the scenes and that you know where you can make changes. Now let's look right here where it says control your default privacy. This is the default setting whenever you share information. When you're posting, I'm going to my kid's soccer game, or then you post a photo. Here I was at my kid's soccer team. Look how well they did. Here's a photo. whatever information you want to share, your default setting will tell Facebook who are the people I want to share this with. Now you'll see right here in the center, you have 3 options. I can share it publicly. That means anyone can see it. Maybe they're my friends, maybe they're not and keep in mind when we say friends, we're talking about friends as Facebook recognizes your friends. So these are people who are my Facebook friends. So public means it's shared with everyone. They're my Facebook friends, they're not my Facebook friends, they're people I've never met, they're people I've never heard of. That's public. Many people, in fact, most people I would say on Facebook are not comfortable sharing things publicly and stay with the center privacy control for their default settings, and that's friends. So if you are someone who you know everyone that you've connected with on Facebook and they are all your friends and you trust them and you're comfortable with them seeing everything you post, then this is the spot for you. Now, custom lets you dig even deeper to manage your privacy at a granular level. And let me show you a little bit about how that works. So when you click on custom, you have a few choices here. You can choose friends of friends, and what that means is that's a larger group than just your Facebook friends. It's all of the people who are my Facebook friends, and then it expands to include their friends as well. So it's not everybody, it's not the public setting, but it's much more than just my friends. The next setting down, I can choose my friends. I can select specific people or lists, or I can set something to only me. Now, the only me, there may be some areas where that is the setting that you want to choose, but probably doesn't make sense, I would say, to put only me as the default setting when I'm posting, sharing photos or sharing any kind of information, because if I'm sharing it only with myself, I'm not sure why we would put it on Facebook, but the option's there. So I think these are all self-explanatory except for specific people or lists. So let's talk about that. Actually, let's go to friends for just a second. I'll come to that. So friends. So this custom privacy setting allows you to both include and exclude certain people. So, for example, I have, and I'll show you where you set up lists in just a second, but I have a list of all family members. And if there was something for some reason I wanted to share, maybe I was planning a surprise party for some of my family members and I didn't want them to know. I wanted to tell my friends about it, post it so they could see it, but I didn't want anyone in my family to know. I would have the option of naming them all here, or because I actually have them all on a list that's called family, I could just type it in here and it recognizes that, and I could hide it from them. So it would not show up in their news feed. It would show up in all of my other friends' news feed. So that's just one example. So when you type in someone's name, you'll see here if I was to want to exclude one of my friends, I know a few people named Adam. When you type in a name, it automatically populates. You don't even have to spell out their whole name. Now, in order to include or exclude anyone, they need to be one of your Facebook friends. There's no point to exclude someone who's not even one of your friends, since they wouldn't see the post anyway. And it's the same thing works for show this to specific people. So I have my default for me set to all friends. When I want to post something to a particular group or exclude it from someone, which honestly I don't do very often at all, but when I want to do that, I do that on a specific post rather than change my default settings. My default is always what rules my posts, what Facebook uses to share my information, unless I change it on a particular update. And I'll show you how to do that on one particular update. But while we're in the privacy settings, I would encourage you to take a look and dig into all of these areas. But I just want to point out one thing in your applications, because many of us have added various applications. If you've played games or participated in surveys or activities, it may be that I have a lot of applications here. Many of you may not have this many. I'm pretty active online and always trying out new things. But let's just take a look at one. Here's one. Just for example, let's just look at Groupon. I know a lot of people have used Groupon, and I used it. I'm no longer using it. So let's just edit it, and let's take a look at what information in my account Groupon has access to. You'll see a number of these items are required for this application to work. However, down here are two that are not required, where I have the option to remove them. Groupon wants the ability to post to my Facebook account as me, to post messages and say, you know what, I still want to use Groupon, but nah, I don't want you to be able to do that. You can remove that. Access my contact information. No, thank you. I will take that off. So if you still do want to use the application and you're comfortable with it, and you seeing that other people are having success with it, then you may choose to keep it. When looking at the applications through your privacy settings, you find some that you no longer think you need, then right up here, remove application, and yep, I'm going to remove that. Because I want to be very careful. These applications are not developed by Facebook. They're developed by independent developers. And we want to be sure that we're being diligent in managing who has access to our account. Because remember, those people have access not only to our information, but included in our account is the contact information of all of our friends, who they are. They know our relationships with those people, who our family members are. So we really want to be attentive to. So now let's talk about sharing. That's the information that you post on Facebook. And privacy plays into this as well. It's sort of an outbound privacy. Controlling when I put information out there, who do I want to be able to see it? The way you now update your status is by clicking on this update status, which will then open up the box that you will recognize. You will see, because in my default settings, remember when we were in privacy settings, I set my default setting to friends. So already right here, you'll see that it says friends. So if I type something in here, whoops, guess I need to work on my spelling. If I type hello world and I click here to post, it will post to only my friends. And that may be fine. So I click there and post. And here you will see it shows up at the top of my news feed. And if I want to check who I posted it to, if I click right here, it'll tell me I posted to my friends. Now you may be wondering, why would I ever post something publicly? Some people do. For example, here is a photo. I was very lucky that I was selected to attend a town hall with President Obama last month, not that long ago. And I have a photo. Here's a photo. It's a little blurry, but of me and the president shaking hands. And that I was excited to post. And you'll see right here next to my name, where the other one you would see, you just saw the silhouette of two people representing my friends. Here, when you see the globe right next to an update, that means that was posted publicly. So anyone could see that photo. I mean, this was on CNN, so I'm happy to share it with anyone. There's nothing that would be embarrassing to me about this, or I wouldn't want anyone to see. So if just a tip, if you're wondering sometimes why you might be seeing someone's photo or someone's information and they're not your friend, and the only reason you're seeing it is because one of your friends commented on it, go ahead and check what sort of icon, what symbol is right next to it. Chances are that that person's privacy settings were set to either public, where you would see the globe, and that's why you're able to see it, because their privacy settings allow anyone to see it, or perhaps it was set to friends of friends. That still means that you would be able to see it. So it's not violating their privacy settings that they set for their photo by you being able to see that. One quick thing you'll notice here, which was not on Facebook until maybe couple weeks ago, is that if you click on this, I can actually change my privacy settings if I wanted to, if I changed my mind, if I posted that publicly and oh my goodness, I just suddenly realized I shouldn't have done that. On a number of pieces of content on Facebook, when it's something that I posted myself, I can go back and either make something more or less public. So that's an interesting change. And lists. I'd like to show you, if you aren't already using lists, why they will be helpful to you, both for inbound and outbound privacy and filtering. Inbound means it will help you manage the content flowing into you from your friends. How do you make sure that you're seeing the right people, the people that you want to see the most? And of course, this is dependent on how many friends you have. If you only have a limited number, a smaller number of friends on Facebook, then this isn't so difficult. But the more that you get, this will help to have people organized and categorized on lists. And it will help you with your outbound sharing. You remember when I showed you when you post a message, when you control the privacy of that particular message, you can limit it either by inclusion or exclusion of people who are on a particular list. So let's take a look at how to do this. On your Facebook homepage, once again, look on the left navigation sidebar, and you keep going down to right here where it says lists. When you hover over here, it will say more. So go ahead and click there, and you'll see I am fanatic about organizing the individuals that I've connected with for a number of reasons. So I've got everyone who's a Facebook friend of mine is on one, or many are on more lists, and they all have a particular meaning to me, and that's all that matters, because no one can see who's on any individual list. These lists down here with this type of icon with an individual silhouette, these are what are called custom lists. I have manually added people to these lists. These lists here, the ones that say UCLA, Social Media Club, and Almost Savvy, these are what are called, and family, are called smart lists, meaning that Facebook reads the information on my profile, matches me up with someone who has the same information on their profile, and adds them to my list. So for example, if you've added people to your Facebook profile and you've connected their relationship, you've added someone as your parent or as your child, as your cousin on Facebook, then Facebook would add them to your family list. You don't actually have to add them yourself. Where it says UCLA, I went to UCLA, so anyone else on Facebook who lists that they were a student at UCLA would be added to that list. So if you're you list a particular employer, other people who list that same employer would be on that list. That may or may not be helpful to you. For me personally, I manage my lists individually, but that's how the smart lists work. At the top where it says close friends, that's a way for you to add people and let Facebook know that these are people you care more about and you'd like to see more of their content. Acquaintances are people that you don't know as well and would rather see less of their content. Again, I personally don't use either of those lists, only because prior to the introduction of those lists, I already had a pretty robust set of lists going that I've been using for years. But if you haven't had lists, that may be a way to start. So to get started, at the top, if you wanted to create a custom list, and say you wanted to create a list, let's just say for some reason I wanted to create a list of atoms that I know. And obviously this doesn't make any sense. It's for demonstration purposes. But there may be information that I want to share specifically with people named Adam, or there may be information I want to exclude. So the way I would set that up is I would just call it my Adam friends, and then I would create a list. And then it will take me to the next step where I can add people to this list. And again, since Facebook already knows who my friends are, and you see it just will automatically pull them. Well, that just makes it very easy because I chose people by name. But otherwise, you could go through and select who you'd like added to that list. And there you go. I have a list of people named Adam. Now that list is going to be useless to me and I will delete it in a minute. But what is key about that is you'll see I have some lists right here at the top of left of my navigation where it makes it very easy for me to just click on here, and then I can easily filter the information. I can see all the updates. For example, here are a list of people that I subscribe to on Facebook. They're not my Facebook friends, but I subscribe to them. Here are all of their updates. So rather than hoping that I find them just in my news feed, I can click on any of these and get a filtered feed of just the people who are on that list. You'll also note that the ticker is not present on these pages. The ticker is only present on the front page, which for some people makes a more pleasant viewing experience. So that's a way to get set up with lists. If you would like to add one of your lists to the front top navigation so you don't have to dig for it, all you would need to do is, here's my Adam Friends list, is click on the pencil to the left, click Add to Favorites, and boom, you will see it right here on my navigation that will be there every time I come to Facebook. So it's very easy to find. I hope those tips were helpful to you. The changes are pretty sweeping changes. I'm sure we will be seeing more changes to come. I welcome your questions. I hope that this has given you some insights and given you some motivation to dig into your privacy settings, regardless of the changes. Managing your own privacy and having control over your account and which applications have access to your account is very, very important. You want to enjoy using Facebook in connecting with friends and families and finding content that's interesting to you, but do it in a way that's safe and you feel comfortable. So with that, here's a shot of my website. It's called Almost Savvy because we all feel so much pressure to be savvy and on top of everything, and you know what? It's just really hard to do. And being almost savvy is pretty darn awesome. So pat yourself on the back for making it through this video and really taking the time to learn how to use these tools rather than being intimidated by the tools. You can do it. You really, really can. It's just new. It's a little bit different, but I appreciate you being here and sharing some time with me. If I write articles on here and on Twitter, Facebook, all sorts of social networking, Google Plus, LinkedIn, and if you'd like to stay up to date and read my articles, I'd welcome you to do that. It's entirely free. Go to almostsavvy.com. Remember, Savvy has 2 V's in it. almostsavvy.com, and you'll see right here where there's a red arrow. Just enter your email address in there, and you'll be getting the updates right to your email box. One very important thing to watch out for, though, when you enter your email address, it's going to send an email to that address. That email will be coming from FeedBurner email subscriptions or something like that. And that is verifying that you indeed were the one who signed that up. And until you open that email and click confirm, you won't be getting any of the updates. So just want to let you know that, because very often people do the first step and then don't confirm it. And so their subscription isn't activated, which is really a shame. So just be sure and look for that and confirm that. And also, in addition to visiting my website, I hope you'll come to my Facebook page at Almost Savvy and like it at the top of the page. Just click like and join the conversation. Again, we're talking all about social media and a little bit of technology. How can we learn to use it? People are very friendly there, sharing ideas, asking questions. So please hop on over there, like the page, and please post a message right in that box up there where it says status, and say hello and why you're there, and let me know you watched this video. And if you learned anything new, any useful nuggets, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Again, any questions, connect with me on the blog. I'll be sending you some information, and I hope to see you again online or in a future session. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate you being here, and look forward to our continued conversation. This is Irene Kohler with Almost Savvy.